Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to recreate another designer dress in knit and crochet. So today the designer is going to be called Gaia, which is actually one of my favorite resort wear designers out there. For the occasion, I'm wearing one of my favorite Cult Gaia dresses. So the one we're recreating today is called the Oliviana knit dress, and I think it's one of the newer designs. It's like this slim fitting mini dress, but it has this like amazing crochet pearl cape on it. And let me show you what it looks like. This is the dress we're recreating. Jump scare, $798. But I think I know how to make this. So clearly the dress under here is going to be done in knit. And then the cape on top, I think I see this is made of single crochets and then faux pearls. So yeah, this is not going to be that hard. I think the challenge is whether or not I can lay these strings of pearls this neatly to get the same effect. I think I can get pretty close on this designer recreation, and I already have the yarn. So I have 3 skeins of this yarn. This is the Moondrake Merino Linen in the color Rose Quartz. I actually got these on eBay. Somebody was destashing them, so I picked them up. I think I spent like $80 on the 3 skeins, and originally these are like $30 each. So already we are saving some money. That's some girl math right there. All right, let's get started. Let's get knitting. It's the next day, and I started making the top of the dress, which I now realize that I did wrong. So I'm about to rip out and restart. Okay, what I did here is I started making a ribbing, and then I just increase on the sides. But right now I was only increasing on the right side, and I realized I need to increase on both the right and the wrong side to have a more like dramatic slope. I ended up doing the double strand of the yarn, and I am using a 4.5mm needle. Couple sad hours later. So this is the same amount of yarn, but you can see we're increasing at a way faster pace. And this is definitely looking a lot more like the original dress. So I'm thinking I'll probably add a couple more rows here of increase, and then I'll start on the same exact piece for the back. Okay, now you can just sort of visualize the pearls, right? Yeah. It's gonna look good. Okay, I finished the beginning of the front piece, and now I'm working on the same exact thing for the back piece. And then once I get these two to be the same size, I'm gonna use this to connect the top, and then we can kind of see what it's gonna look like on. So far, very easy. I'm thinking the knit part of the dress is actually gonna be very straightforward. As long as I don't have to rip back anything, we should be smooth sailing. Famous last words. As you can tell here, I'm ripping back. Yep. I joined in the round, and obviously with ribbing, like, it's just way too big. It's too loose here. So I need some negative ease, and this is just not working. So we're just gonna rip back 4 hours of knitting. So tired. We're back for day 2, and this is what we have so far. After I sorted out that whole mess and then started knitting again, we're back to where we were before we ripped back. So as I mentioned, at the underarm, I just cast on 8 stitches this time. Last time, 22 is way too much. And let me show you what it looks like on. So we have this super pretty pink color. We have these pearl straps up here. Yeah, I had a minor meltdown yesterday about ripping back. It was mostly because after I ripped it back, the whole pile of yarn became such disaster that I was just like, this has never happened to me before. But yeah, we are in a good place, and now just keep knitting. Now is easy. Napa, Luna. I want you to take a guess at what I'm making next. Here are the hints. Are you ready? Do you have a guess? I'm gonna try to make this. This is a Christopher Esper top. Another one of my favorite designers. Yeah, a couple of months ago, I found all of this stuff on eBay. Sorry, I found this stuff on Etsy. And I was like, wait, that looks really familiar. And I feel like this is the exact same hardware that Christopher Esper uses. Are you guys ready for this? This is the nicest thing I've ever made in my life. Does this not look incredible? Like, the ribbing looks so neat. There's like a subtle shaping here, and it also, oh, do you see this? This bit's a bit weird. So, if you want to make this at home, I really encourage you to try. I think, you know, if you just follow kind of the process I did here, I am confident that you can make something like this. And I could call it right now. Like, this looks so great as a tank top. Yeah, look at the back. It's so cute. Okay, I'm telling you, if you can do basic knitting stitches, you know how to knit, purl, and increase, please, please make this top. I just am obsessed. I don't even want to make the full dress. I love the way it looks right now. And just to give you an idea, so I'm using the Moondrake Merino linen, and this is a fingering weight, but I'm holding 2 strands together. And I only have this much left of the first 2, and I have 1 skein left. So I don't know if I can make it. I'm worried I will only be able to make it like here. I want to take a minute to go over the details of how I made this top in case you want to make it for yourself. So first thing I did a long tail cast on, and I cast on 4 stitches. Then the next row, I did 1 purl, 2 knit, 1 purl. From there, I already start to increase every single row. So the next row would be 1 knit, and then you would do a make 1 right, 2 purl, make 1 left, and then knit. Do 1 stitch for the edge, and then you want to make that increase. And then you're just really growing this ribbing out from there. So then you're gonna get a triangle shape, right? And then you just kind of want to put the triangle up to yourself. See how the width is, and you want to stretch it out and see it pretty much like goes all the way up to here. You don't necessarily need it to go all the way under the armpit, but just kind of up to here. Once you're there, you can go ahead and start making the back piece, and you make that in the same exact way. Once you have those 2 pieces, it's time to start joining and casting on for the underarm. So for me, I cast on 8 stitches on the underarm, and you can see here, I just kind of continued doing the rib. And I think this is optional based on how stretchy your fabric is, but I did want to do like a small decrease. You could see I decreased, and then I'm going back into an increase just to do a little bit of shaping for the waist. Let's put this aside and go over how to do the beading. So I have this very, very thin thread, or I guess for a thread, I just have a normal thread. Then I have this crochet thread. I take a regular sewing needle and I thread the thinner thread through, thread a couple of beads onto here. I'm just gonna do 2-3 chains. Let's do 3. Then we're gonna move 1 bead up. And as it's in there, you wanna chain after the bead. Do 1 chain and secure it with a chain. For this strap, I did have to redo this a couple of times. Let me measure it for you. Strap here, the first set of straps, 12 inches. So I suspect it's limited. It should be the size of my head. That's my theory. Okay, yeah. So I think the circumference of my head is 22.5 inches. So these two together is going to be 24 inches. So yeah, choose a length that's slightly half an inch to 1 inch bigger than the circumference of your head. If it's any bigger than that, it's just gonna sit too far down. Let's take a music break. Let me show you what I'm working on. Okay, I'm not gonna play the whole thing because you're gonna be bored, but I'm doing a tea event tomorrow at a local library. It's gonna be Chinese New Year themed. So at the end of the tea event, I'm gonna perform that song. So I do really have to practice, but I actually wish I was knitting instead. Oh, by the way, this instrument I think is one of the most easy ones to pick up because the notes are simplified into numbers. It's snowing, so I had to cancel my freaking tea event, and I spent 3 hours baking the cookies and practicing the instrument and preparing everything, and now we can't do it. These are the cookies. I made a matcha chocolate cookie, and then this is a pineapple tart cookie. Sad. But I'm gonna spend the whole day finishing this dress. Hey, don't eat my cookie. She did her job. Rushed over, did her job.
She rushed away. She saw it and she came jumping. I saw her eyes be like, I gotta do this. It was adorable.
So, since my tea event failed, I have a ton of cookies. So, I have my pineapple tarts right here. Yummy. And then today I'm drinking a red tea. Here is the latest update. Once I'm done knitting, I'm gonna start working on the pearls. So yeah, for example, like we could just attach it here, up here, some down here. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that part. Hopefully I can finish knitting this by tomorrow. Okay, we're back. I think this is day 5, and we made some significant progress. Except right now I have this much yarn left, and we need to make this dress as long as possible because right now it's still a little bit too short. It's not appropriate yet. So I'm just gonna try, just to go down to the last little bit of this yarn. I'm hoping I can get like another centimeter of dress from this much because we really need it. It does look really good, but yeah, I'm not gonna be able to wear this outside if it's not a little longer. If I were to make this again, I would consider doing like a 3x3 rib. I think that would make the process go a little bit faster. I have a little update. So I am at the very last bit of my yarn, and I'm working on a super tiny, cute little short ribbing before I bind off. This is my big bag of fancy tees from Tea Drunk. And I have this. This is a cliff tee from Uyi Mountain. This much more to bind off, and this is how much yarn I have left. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is how much yarn I had left. Lighting is not great, but I think I'm done. I bound off with literally like 5 inches of yarn left to spare. And here we have like a decent sized mini dress. Yeah, this is the front. See the back. I'm just really excited to move on to the next part because this took way longer than I expected. I am probably like 35, 40 hours in. Yeah, like for example, I have this one. So I need to figure out how to like combine this with a couple more and then keep those attached, because I don't think it's gonna work if I attach everything to the dress. When people buy this dress, is this stuff, does it just come in like a horrible, like a disaster pile? I don't understand. I decided to just do the 5 strands of the pearls. I think this gives you enough of the look, and because I'm also worried when I take it off, it's gonna turn into a tangled mess. So hopefully just having 5 will reduce that issue. But yeah, here is the front. Yeah, and you can see in the back, it's the same look. Super, super pretty with the pearls falling down. Yeah, I'm really excited. We're going to Tampa later this week, and I'm definitely bringing this. We're going to like a famous steakhouse with like a crazy wine list. So yeah, I think this is gonna be the perfect dress to wear.